Hi, everyone. Welcome to our new series, Where Are They Now?, where we check in on Harvard athletics alumni who are doing great things now after their time at Harvard in all different professions. And our first guest is former Harvard women's basketball player, the all-time leading scorer at Harvard women's basketball, and now a member of the staff with the Boston Celtics front office, Allison Feaster. Allison, thank you, and welcome from your spot in the bubble to our spot here on Zoom.
Thank you. Did I hear you say I'm the first guest for this
You
new
are
series?
our first guest, yes.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
We're really glad to have you as well. You're in the bubble as the Director of Player Development with the Boston Celtics. Can you just describe what the bubble experience has been like for you in Orlando?
Wow, the bubble experience has been, it's been really cool. You know, there are a lot of misconceptions about what it's like to, be confined with, without being able to leave. But it's been tremendous being able to see basketball again. Our guys are really passionate. The game is doing so much for our community right now. And, and under all of that, we're playing for, an 18th banner. So, bubble life is cool for me.
This is your first year with the Celtics as the Director of Player Development. Can you describe what your role was like before March, and can you describe how different it's been since March and since the COVID pandemic?
Right. So I'm officially now Vice President of Player Development, Organizational Growth, and before March, it was season was in full swing. We were moving around from city to city, just preparing for a playoff run, I should say. And, COVID hits and we're all confined to our homes. Zoom becomes a regular part of our day-to-day lives. And had to find creative ways to stay connected and, keep the guys, active and engaged. So it's definitely been a challenge, but it was also an opportunity for us to grow in some other areas.
Can you describe for folks who don't maybe understand the structure of how a front office and how a staff works, your specific roles in player development, what you're doing, and how that's different maybe from the head coach or an assistant coach?
Right. So my official function deals with anything that's really off the court player development in terms of career, personal, professional growth. I've obviously played the game, so I do take the opportunity to, use my experience as a former player to, offer insights that may be helpful to the guys. We're all here to support the guys and give them every resource that we can to make sure they're successful both on and off the court. So we liaise, all of us, I liaise with the coaching staff, with the other front office members to really try to help them maximize the player experience.
I know during the course of the break during the pandemic, you were trying to set up different Zooms with inspirational speakers, entertainment, and even some that talked about social justice and social issues. You facilitated some conversations there as well. What were some of the most powerful and most influential meetings that you felt like the team had over the course of the last few months?
Wow, we had a lot. Without naming names, and I'm pretty sure some of those names are out there already. But there was such a willingness for people who are celebrities many times over and in different fields. The way they were able to connect with our guys and to we always tell our guys to make sure you have a game plan, not just while you're playing, but that you give thought to who you are off the court and that your identity is as well-rounded as possible. And we were able to connect with people who are not just actors, political figures, comedians, academics. We were able to expose our guys to experts in many different areas and kind of navigate this unprecedented crisis that is COVID, I should say. So it was really rewarding for all of us.
Let's go back to your time at Harvard. All-time leading scorer. You capped your career with a game that's still talked about a lot. The win in the NCAA tournament as a 16 seed over a top-seeded Stanford, first ever 16 win over a 1. How often do you still think of that game, and do you and your teammates still talk about that game and what an experience that was to cap off 4 years where your team was really a dominant force in the Ivy League.
Right. I actually think about the game not as much, but I do certainly think about the experiences as a player at Harvard. And, that game was just one moment, but it was certainly the culmination of like years and years and years of, preparing for a moment like that. So I use it as a teaching point, with our players, with my daughter, with her teammates. It's still very, very prevalent in my mind. And now that I'm back in the Boston community, I get a chance to see my former teammates who live in the area and my former coach. So it's a part of our fabric.
You mentioned your coach, who is still the coach at Harvard, Kathy Delaney-Smith. How influential was she on your life, both on the court in basketball and off the court in all you've done since leaving Harvard?
Right, she's very influential. She was, apart from Harvard being what it is as an academic institution, she was, a close second in terms of why I chose to go to Harvard. I saw in her, this super strong role model. And she grew to be like my second mom, and still is. We're very close, and she's had a tremendous impact on my life, and gave me a strong model of what a woman should aspire to be.
What were some of your other most formative experiences during your time at Harvard, be it a class, an extracurricular, or even just people that you got to know that really affected who you are?
Right. So the beauty of Harvard is, the diverse fabric of students who are not just athletes or, smart kids. Students do so many things and are very remarkable. And it gave me the opportunity to be exposed to a different type of diversity that, helped me to travel, not just, geographically, but, culturally. So I look back on that experience as kind of the foundation for helping me navigate many other experiences throughout my life.
Well, and then you left Harvard and had nearly a 2-decade pro career spanning a decade in the WNBA and also playing professionally in Europe. What's it like to actually live out that goal that you worked your basketball career for, and that so few, such a small percentage of players actually get to experience and get to that level?
Right. Interestingly, it wasn't ever a goal to play professional basketball. At the time, I guess as I was graduating college, it was the first or second year of the WNBA, and there was another women's professional league in the States that would fold, shortly after. But I was going through, interviews just like every other student. So being able to play professionally first, and then being able to have, the longevity was certainly an unexpected blessing for me. Just really thankful. Never thought I would be able to, play for as long as I did, especially coming out of Harvard. I assumed I'd be working, a 9-to-5 somewhere. Just don't regret it, and very thankful for, the career I had.
Obviously you're starting to see some cracks in the glass ceiling, and you're a good example of that. But front office and coaching in the NBA is still a very male-dominated world. So what were some of the challenges for you in getting yourself into a position like this, and who'd you lean on for advice as you tried to navigate this world?
Right. I think the real challenge was potentially an opportunity and exposure to the NBA, I guess business, basketball and business side, without having worked at the NBA in the Basketball Operations Associate program, which is a program that to help former NBA and WNBA players transition, off the court. I never would have had the opportunity. So I think that challenge of opportunity and exposure was maybe not the only challenge, but definitely the most formidable.
How much do you feel?
And I leaned on, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, I leaned on professionals who are in the business already at the league office. I started in the program, the operations associates program. We were reporting into Kiki Vandeweghe and another former W player who studied at Stanford, who was actually my recruit. My senior year, she was considering Harvard. She turned out to be my first boss at the NBA. So I leaned really heavily on them and others at the NBA to kind of show us the ropes. And once I did make the transition to the Celtics front office, I leaned very heavily on my colleagues. Coach Stevens has been great. Danny Ainge from day one has been a wealth of knowledge and support for me. Mike Zarin, who's our assistant general manager, and the list goes on. It's just I couldn't ask for better colleagues to kind of guide me in my first stint with a team. So
I have two quick questions for you to finish things off. In your role, obviously you're responsible for helping these players be in the best position off the floor and grow off the floor as well. So yes, the overall evaluation of success of the Celtics organization is to win a title at the end of the year, but how do you judge your success in what you're doing and how you're helping the players you're working with?
Right. Wow. That's a great question. I think I just came on my first year, and so much of my role is relationship building and gaining trust. And, a win for me is having a player come to me for maybe not advice is not the right word, but guidance on anything to help him move from point A to point B. A player setting a goal and working towards that goal to achieve what he wants to achieve. So I definitely have benchmarks I set for myself and help the guys do the same thing. But those little wins early, the building of relationships, the gain of the trust, and helping these guys reach their potential for me is are signs of success.
Great. And then just finally, you look at the Harvard women's basketball alumni community, and there are so many high achievers across so many different industries, be it government positions, be it CEOs at major corporations, successful athletes, folks in the sports world. What do you think it is about Harvard women's basketball specifically and the culture that program has that so many folks leave that women's basketball program and immediately make an impact in their communities?
Right. That's a good question. I don't think I know it starts with, first and foremost, with Kathy and the culture she's created around the program. All of us come in with a certain amount of, raw material, but I definitely attribute who I am as a leader, who I was as a leader when I played, who I am as a person and leader now, to having been in her program and having understood what it takes to, one, be on a team, what it takes to lead by example, and just everything 360 is what she focuses on, developing you on and off the court, which in turn is what I'm doing now. But yeah, I think it starts there.
Great.
And I think I know everyone would say the same thing too.
Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule, and best of luck to you and the Celtics continuing on this playoff run as you hope to extend your stay down in Orlando.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.